This week on the Happy House, presented by Creative Kid Stuff, an award-winning pastry chef shares her grandma's recipe for apple pie. Then the kids and I are making some beautiful handmade gifts. Finally, learning about toys from an expert. Stay tuned to see her favorite picks for kids of all ages. Stay tuned. Hi, I'm Happy. I learned early on things are much easier with a little help. I also have a few tricks of my own to share. It's go time, people. Welcome to the Happy House. Today, we're behind the scenes at Burrow in the North Loop of Minneapolis. It is an upscale American eatery, and we are with Charlie Award-winning pastry chef Karin Tomlinson. So I've actually eaten your pastries and baked goods, and they are worth bragging about. So how do you choose the desserts for your menu?
I always like to have some very down-to-earth American staple items, and the one that's most special to me is the apple pie. The apple pie is something that is kind of like a love language for me. My grandmother, who's now 93, taught me when I was just a little Karin how to make apple pie, and I still think she makes the best apple pie I've ever had. But it is her apple pie recipe, and every time she comes here, she checks on me to see if I'm still doing that.
That's awesome. Let's get started.
All right. The first step that I start with is getting the apples ready. I like to use tart, firm apples. Granny Smiths are a great option. They're available year-round. So start by peeling them. I think the key is, if you're doing a lot at one time, do everything, do all the peeling, and then do all of the chopping. One operation at a time, and that makes it go faster.
Got it.
So I like to cut off the sides like this, then cut off the short sides. And then once you've done that with all of the apples, you can line up the little short guys like that, and then cut them into pieces about this size. You don't want them too big, or else they'll take up a lot of space in the pie and they won't cook that evenly. There'll be a lot of air in between. All right, I have 4 apples right here. These are pretty large apples. If they're smaller, I use about 6, but bottom line, a little bit over 4 cups of apple.
Okay,
cubed.
when it's chopped up.
When it's chopped up. So next I'm going to get the pie crust ready. We're going to start with 2 cups of AP flour.
What's AP flour?
All-purpose.
All-purpose.
And then this is about a ½ teaspoon salt. A little bit will help kind of give it some life. Then I have lard. This is my fat of choice for a pie crust. It makes it flaky and light, unlike anything else.
And that was how much? You said a cup or a half cup?
That is a scant 2/3 cup. So about in between.
A scant.
Yes, this is, I'm giving you my grandmother's recipe.
Okay.
That's what she told me.
So it's a smidge under 2/3.
Yes.
Scant, smidge.
Yes.
Yep.
More than a ½ cup.
Okay.
Yeah. You can also use knives to do this, to cut in the lard, but I like to use this. It goes pretty quickly. So you basically just smush down the lard into the flour, but you can knock the lard off if it sticks in. Keep going like this until you get little pieces, because we're going to add a little bit of liquid to it, and that's when it will actually come together.
Maybe in the mound.
That's right.
Okay.
And now here I have 4 tablespoons of water and 1 tablespoon distilled vinegar. So that's just kind of a secret old farmhouse trick for making pie crust.
I've never heard that before.
I think the best tool for incorporating this is just a fork. And this is the part that you don't want to do too much. You want to stop when it looks like you could gather it together in your hands and form a ball out of it. That is going to be good to go. We'll be able to form that into 2 balls, about even in size, and that'll be the base. I'm not kneading it like bread dough.
A lot of times when I try to roll out dough, it's like a sticky mess. I'm not good at it.
Well, and I just like to have flour nearby so that if my hands are kind of messy and I need a little bit more, it's sticking to the surface, that I can just, use that. So what I like to do is kind of pre-form into rounds like that. So you make sure that there's nothing sticky on top, really. No sticky spots. If there are, just cover it with a little bit of flour, and then you start rolling like this. There's spots where it's going to want to tear.
Yep.
What you can kind of do is just encourage the flour towards each other. You don't have to patch it necessarily. Just kind of use your hands to line that up. All right, those are both going to work. Okay. And now, one thing I like doing if I'm not using a pastry cloth is just kind of putting a long flat spatula underneath the crust to make sure that it won't stick. That is the most frustrating thing.
I was just about to say that's going to be very frustrating.
Right.
Yeah.
If it happens, it's not the end of the world. There's always a way to fix it. But now I'm going to lift it.
You use your rolling pin to lift it into the pan.
Exactly. So now we just put in the apples. We're going to mix together the filling, which will kind of give it the gooey, saucy part, and it'll keep the apples together. So I have a cup of sugar here, 2 tablespoons flour, all-purpose flour, a little bit of salt, about a half a teaspoon of salt. That is a really important ingredient. If you don't have that, it will not taste very good. And then just a little bit of cinnamon. Just kind of mix that together a little bit, and you just pour it on top and just kind of smooth it around. You don't need to worry too much about being even because it's all going to heat up and melt together.
Yes.
So I have about a little more than 2 tablespoons of butter, and that will give the sauce its good flavor and rich consistency. I like to do a little bit of water along the edge of the pie. And this will help it seal together easily. So now we just roll this up, and with confidence, we bring it over right on top of this pie. Oh, not too bad. And then just kind of press it down on the edge that we just put the water on. Now I'm going to go around and trim off some of the excess here. I'm going a little bit farther out than the edge of the pie plate.
And then you're just turning up the edge all the way around.
That's right. I'm turning it up, and at the same time, I'm kind of sealing the pieces together.
Yes.
What I like to do with the edge is simply use my 2 pointer fingers and kind of pinch them down with a little bit in the middle, so that kind of leaves a piece coming up like that. So we're going to just do a little hole in the middle, and then I'll just do 4 little almond sliver slits. And this will help the steam escape as the pie is cooking. And then all I do before I bake it is just sprinkle it with a little bit of sugar and cinnamon. I bake it for 15 minutes on 425. After 15 minutes is up, you simply turn it down to 350 and
just
that
let
will
it
work
settle.
out. Just let it settle. You know that it's done if the sugars have gone onto the pan and they're starting to turn brown and kind of caramelize, then you know, oh, that pie is going to set up. It's going to be just right on the inside.
Perfect. Karen, that looks delicious. I cannot wait to try a slice. Can I try a slice?
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for teaching us this recipe. I think I can even tackle it.
Oh yeah.
For the recipe and an extended version of this segment, visit thehappyhouse.com. Coming up next on The Happy House, presented by Creative Kid Stuff, the kids and I are making homemade holiday gifts. Holiday gifts are heartfelt when they're homemade. I'm with the kids and we are working on 3 different projects that you can give as holiday gifts. I'm going to start with Ella. She is making a beautiful wire star ornament, and this actually is much easier than it looks. Ella, I'm going to grab this and show people what you're up to here. So we basically drew a star on this piece of wood and then pounded 5 nails into where the tips of the star are, and simply wrapped wire around the way you would make a star. So if you start your star on the bottom like I do, you just go up, up, two, two, two. So exactly the way you make a star, you would then wrap the wire around. And then remove this from the nails and simply wrap a different color wire, or it can be the same, around it to secure the ornament, okay? Chandler is working on a kind of jar of goodness, I'll call it. So basically, we took these tongue depressors and used washi tape to make a few different categories. You can make as many categories as you want in a jar, but made some different categories and then wrote on the tongue depressors. So for example, Chandler's working on something here where he says, try watermelon. You love watermelon. Try juggling. But you can do categories like here we've got spread joy, things we can do, mystery trip. You could also have things if you're giving it to like a grandparent, things I love about you, things I want to do with you, chores I'll do for you. So any amount of different categories and any number of sticks. Another idea is to have each child in your family have a different color washi tape and write different things that they'll either do for the person, love about the person, remember about the person that they're giving it to. So it can really be customized, and it's also very inexpensive. Emerson and Ava are working on some really cool coasters. Emerson, can you pass me that coaster on the top? Yeah. So we picked up some tiles from our hardware store, and these are about 50 cents a piece. So basically, you color on these with Sharpie or permanent markers, and you can color any which way you want, and then you use drops, just a drop at a time, of rubbing alcohol and drop it onto the colored tile, and it creates these really cool designs. You set the design by using either glue or like Mod Podge, and then glue felt on the back to make it a coaster. So it's really easy, also customized. You can make it colors that people like, but it makes a really nice gift because coasters can be quite expensive. So these easy breezy ideas are a great way to get the kids involved, a great way to give something that really matters to people, and sometimes a great way to save money. Coming up next on the Happy House, we're at Creative Kid Stuff, learning about toys from an expert. Stay tuned to see her favorite picks for kids of all ages. Play is such an important part of all kids' lives, little kids and big kids. I'm at Creative Kid Stuff today, and I'm going to be talking with a toy expert and learning about her favorite picks for kids of all ages. Teresa, you have selected some of your favorites for our little guys.
Well, a lot of the things that we chose are toys that grow with a child. So it's nice for a family to have a toy that's going to last longer than a month, things that they'll learn from. And one of my favorites is the geometric blocks. This has numbers, so it tells you how the child is using it based on how many pieces they have inside each shape. Once you use it, it does have the different colors, so you're learning colors, you're learning shape, size variation.
I love buying things like this because, first of all, it's beautiful. The colors are beautiful, the feel is beautiful, but also all of the different things you talked about, there's just so much to do, and it would be great for like a 2-year-old and a 5-year-old to play together, which is nice.
When the older one is interested, they learn so much from their older siblings that when they use it together, it really makes it a more valuable toy.
What a nice gift.
Yeah.
I mean, I like to give special gifts, so I love this. Okay.
Yeah, people really feel good about giving wood because it just seems like a timeless toy, and it is.
Yep. All right, what's next?
So Playmobil, speaking of timeless toys, my kids grew up with Playmobil, and it is such a nice toy. The pieces are very solid. You don't have to worry about them breaking. This particular one has a containment unit, so when the child is done, they can put it in there. The age that this is recommended for, 1.5 and up, love to put things in and take them out.
Yep, and you can just take this to go. Can I tell you a secret about this? My oldest son, Henry, just turned 20, and he had this, and I loved it, and I will tell you, we still have it, and my youngest son, Chandler, played with it when he was little, and they are 10 years apart. So as far as being durable and having a lot of lasting power, this is one of my favorite picks. And it's still under $30, which is great.
And we talked about the actual toy, but even, you know, learning the animals, when they're learning to talk, you want to be able to talk about what does the horse say and where does the horse go, and so it has a lot of educational properties as well.
I love this toy.
So the first Orchard game it's a first game. So the thing that's nice about this is many games are for ages 3 and up, but this is a game that actually teaches them how to play. It's a cooperative game, so we're not playing against each other, we're playing with each other. And so the pieces are nice and big, and I know my grandson would love to just use his imagination and play with these in other ways as well.
I love the feel of these, and this is ages 2+, which is rare. I mean, it's hard to find a game. So there is a whole collection of games from this company that are ages 2+. That is really awesome. So I love it.
They make
I love
nice.
it.
Yes.
Okay,
So
what's next?
on the active side, we do get a lot of parents looking for birthday gifts for their friends, their school friends, or possibly cousins and stuff. The pogo jumper is such a neat concept because even the older sibling can try it without breaking it.
Okay.
It does go up to 220 pounds, I believe, 250 pounds. When they hop on it, so this is a foam, a very soft foam. This is a bungee, so when they pull up, you don't have a pole to worry about. And each time they hop on this one, it keeps track so they can have jumping contests.
Oh, fun.
How much fun is that?
That is really fun because it's like kind of reminds me of a pogo stick, but
Training them for
it
it.
does seem a little bit easier to get the hang of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
A lot of times parents will worry about, oh, will they fall down? And I remind them that it's only 3 inches off the ground, so they may kind of stumble, but they get right back up and they want to do it again. Kids love to be able to perfect things and do them over and over. If you had a child who had an older sibling and they really are ready for some older things with the parents' help, this is so perfect even for keeping at grandma's house. It has a clipboard with Velcro. It has 2 drawers with all of the supplies kept inside. And then it has all of the instructions and a place to put your artwork when it's done.
I love this. I love art kits. But this one has like a different element to it because I see that it talks about different artists and techniques. So we're talking about George O'Keeffe, Matisse. That is really cool.
And the thing that I like about it is it's like a blank piece of paper. You're showing how the artist does it, but it's also letting them use their own creativity, which is what we'd like to teach the kids when they're doing art, that their art is what is the best. So
I love it. And I also love that it Velcros shut
take it.
and has a handle.
Yes. It's so bright and colorful. It just invites you to want to play with it.
We've covered active play, we've covered games, we've covered infant, imaginative play, and then art. All of these things are such great recommendations. Let's talk big kids now.
So the nice thing when you are 8 or 9 or the older kids, they kind of have an opinion on what types of things they like. So it's a little bit easier to recommend things based on that so that they have an interest. This, for instance, is called Corsetti Pixel Art. Well, it's kind of like a puzzle. You're using teeny tiny pegs and the picture behind. It is like a puzzle, so when you're starting it, pretty soon the whole family wants to come and do it. This larger one has 7,200 pegs, which seems totally overwhelming, but once you get started, you just don't want to stop.
And the pegs, it looks like they stay in.
Yes,
so
they do.
Once you've made the picture. This is interesting because I'm seeing this photo on the side, and it looks like a full color photo, but it's created with all of these, just the 5 different color pegs, because that's like what makes up, I mean, that's a pixelation, really.
Exactly.
So that is so cool. I like this a lot.
We really have liked that toy. Yeah, it's really fun.
What else you got for me?
So if you have a large group, there might be 5 or 10 minutes where you need to play something, but you don't want a game that's so rule intensive. The object of this game is to take turns putting these little brink pieces on, and it's on a little pivot, so it does move, and it works like a measuring system where you have to figure out what side you put it on last. And the person it falls on is the loser. So so
Wait,
it's
we're
really
actually
a
getting
challenge.
competitive?
Yes, we are. I'm actually pretty good at this game.
That's what's nice about playing with the big kids, honestly, is you can get competitive.
And also you can get back down to the basics and play games, and people sometimes need a reason to do that.
This looks fun, and I also like how it appears to store in this container.
Exactly.
I like
Yeah,
things
parents
that.
like that. Everything gets put right away inside the box.
That's super fun. I'm gonna try this, Teresa. I feel like I'm not gonna be that good at it.
You can get quite a few more on. There you go, you're good.
I'm holding with my luck right there.
Yeah, look at that. I'm gonna spin it and see if we can, ta-da.
Okay, nice. Now, what is this? I'm
So,
intrigued.
Kids and adults love technology. This is a toy that uses technology because you're using your app-driven system, either your phone, your tablet, and it's charged just on your computer. So you can plug it in, you wake the Sphero up. So it wakes up like that. When you have your the app, you can change the color that the Sphero is, and it rolls around on the ground. Literally can turn circles, can go under and around things. Cats and dogs love to chase this around.
So I'm using my phone to drive
Yep.
this?
It's a remote control, and your phone has a little app that you can drive it on. It's really a fun toy. We've actually loved having a sample of it here. Every time someone's looking at it, oh, would you like to try? Because then we get to play.
Yes, I like
And
it.
my son is actually a little bit older, but to be able to see all the working parts on the inside, it's just amazing how this works.
It's
and it
really
always
cool.
stays up and it spheres inside of the ball. So this is the Sphero Spark.
Okay, that is so cool. I love it.
Yeah.
My sons, all of them actually would really like
Yes.
that.
Oh
so-
yeah. Big and little.
Okay, what's next?
Well, for the whole family, science, kids are always intrigued with things that are a little different, whether it smells different or feels different. And this science kit has over 70 experiments. It has a book inside so that you can follow the directions step by step. And the container itself is a great thing because you don't have to go search for all the pieces.
I love this because there's 70 different activities you can do with this kit.
Yeah.
It's really a good value, and I just think that the packaging and the way it looks is probably
It's very
pretty
inviting.
intriguing for
Yeah.
kids. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's really all encompassing a great gift.
I have a junior scientist in my house,
Do
and I think
you?
he would like this. Yes.
Yes,
So-
it's fun to get kids into science. And once they get a kit like this, they can then search out different things that they can do on their own, maybe with kitchen science. So this is a great introduction for them.
What is this?
Well, this is just a piece. It has 4 pieces just like this. So it has over 25 different combinations, and it's a miniature golf game. So you can have golf in your own family. You could even add more than one set if you want a larger golf. So
This would be great for, I'm thinking, not just kids, but
Yeah.
grown-ups too.
Right.
A fun office gift or something like
you're
that.
right.
Yeah.
Well, and the kids always like to mimic what mom and dad are doing, so this is a perfect way for them to perfect their game or one of their favorite things to do by going mini golfing.
I
Yeah,
love
it's
it.
really fun.
I love it. Thank you so much for showing me
Oh.
all these things.
You're welcome. It's my favorite thing to do.
I feel like the next thing I need to do is get my wallet out.
Oh, yeah. This is a dangerous store sometimes.
Thanks, Teresa.
Thanks for coming.
Home operator, so get you.